Stop.
No one covers pro
Stop. 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 Enough bully this morning. No pleasantries this morning. No need for pleasantries this morning. We're back. I get it. New Year's, Christmas, it's over.
And
put it behind us.
It begins.
No reason to even go there. We all know that Bully's a two-time Hall of Famer. We
Blah,
get it. Yada, yada,
blah,
yada.
blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Play the beginning of any other show. You know all the details. No pleasantries this morning.
How come you just cut off the entire beginning of the show? People get fired up when they hear the beginning of the show.
They should be fired up already, Bully. We haven't been on the air now for almost 2 weeks. We're back. Man, and it seems like the WWE sent out a mission last night that WrestleMania season, I think, started last night. And we're going right now until April, Bully. Full throttle, full force. But
I think the WWE was on a mission to make you flip your wig last night.
Listen. I know we're gonna have conversation, you and I, about what we saw last night. I know the nation's already calling in already, so I know they're gonna have their takes about what happened last night. But very good show, amazing Monday Night Raw to kick off 2024. But we saw the return of a world champion. Triple H sent out the tweet saying that there's the possibility. Rumors and innuendo about a world champion showing up on day one for Monday Night Raw. And Bully, and you and I both know it wasn't Jinder Mahal. We knew by them showing the reaction of the audience that this was going to be a swerve, that the big reveal wasn't Jinder Mahal. The big reveal, Bully, was the People's Champion, The Rock. And we've seen The Rock. Everybody knows my views and how I felt about the last time we saw The Rock on SmackDown and about what The Rock said on Pat McAfee's show on ESPN Radio, Bully. But, man, he made it very, very clear last night. There was no innuendos. There was no rumors. There was nothing like that. There was no, reading between the lines when it came to The Rock's final line last night. And that is, man, about sitting at the head of the table. And, Bully, it feels like to me that Cody's story isn't going to finish at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, that we are going to see The Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 40. Am I wrong? Did I miss something? Is this story not going to be finished? I mean, is this going to be like AEW where they bring somebody in and they don't use them the right way? Are we going to see the end of the story here, Bully, at WrestleMania 40?
While I was on my way to my beautiful studio on the Jersey Shore at Bar J, I was giving this some thought. How does the WWE accomplish everything that they want? So we can agree that the WWE wants to have the biggest WrestleMania that they can possibly have, and I think they already have that in their back pocket. So if we're going to have a huge WrestleMania already, how do we continue this on? What's our next big show, which obviously is SummerSlam next year? How does the WWE also accomplish getting Roman Reigns into second place and surpassing Hulk Hogan? Well, he'd have to win at SummerSlam next year. Also, well, this year now. How do we get the championship on Cody? Where would we put the championship on Cody? Would the fan base stick around long enough for, or will they still have faith in Cody? Will they still have faith in us creatively if we go past SummerSlam of next year? So these were all the questions I was asking myself and what the WWE wants to accomplish. This is a very interesting chess match to me. Not a chess match of of a company between another company, but an internal chess match of we have so many heavy hitters right now internally, whether that's Punk and Seth, whether that's The Rock returning last night, whether that's Roman, whether that's Cody. Who am I forgetting right now as big main events for 1 and 2?
I think
night
those
1
are
and
the
2.
top. I think those are the top names right now that you would have to consider. I mean, I guess you got to throw Randy Orton's name in there as well.
I forgot Randy's name, which is very important because we could get Cody and Randy, which is a personal story as opposed to a story about a Universal Championship. So The Rock comes out last night. He does his whole shtick, which it was a little long last night, just a little bit. I do like the fact that The Rock tried to do his best to unify the arena last night. He talked about, Jinder talked about how the United States is divided right now, which is very true. I like how The Rock brought everybody together. We got a nice little USA chant going, which we don't hear a lot. To me, that would have been enough. Rock went off on some of his other Rock shtick, blah, blah, blah. But then at the end, we get the head of the table. Now, just because he says the head of the table, does that mean main event of WrestleMania 40?
No,
but it's got everybody stirred up enough to think that, and that's what the WWE is trying to do.
I'm going to say this, Bully. This is going to be the theme of the show today. All right? Everybody that listens to the show knows I'm a huge Cody fan. All right? I want to see Cody finish the story at WrestleMania 40. I want him to become the new undisputed WWE Universal Champion in Philadelphia at WrestleMania 40.
I got to hit the pause for 1 second on you. I'm sorry. But based on what I just said about people having faith in Cody, if he didn't make it to the main event, as a Cody Uber fan, if Cody is not in the main event at WrestleMania 40, let's say it's him and Randy, do you still have faith in Cody after WrestleMania 40?
It's a lot tougher because you're cooling the engines here. You're bringing new people in that weren't a part of the WWE when this story started, and then they're branching out. Where now Cody, where is he going to be after Philadelphia at WrestleMania 40 if he doesn't have that undisputed WWE Universal Championship? Bully, when you bring back a Randy Orton, when you bring back a CM Punk, those are big names that the WWE Universe absolutely loves. And then you also have to put faith in the fact that maybe, as you said earlier, that Roman holds on to this title to beat Hogan's record. That record and that streak seems to mean a lot to the WWE because we're reminded about it a lot in the world of the WWE. So, as you know, Bully, when you get knocked down, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to climb up that ladder. After WrestleMania 39, Cody got knocked down. You, Mark, Tommy, everybody on the show said, don't worry, you're just building him back up for WrestleMania 40. Then you're going to knock him down again and wait another year for him to climb up that ladder?
But
that's a lot of time.
You look at it as knocked down. How many times did Roman lose to Brock before he finally won?
But it's completely different scenario, Bully, because Roman was an uber babyface when he was trying to win that championship and when he was main eventing all those WrestleManias. Now he's a heel. Now his character is completely different than it was 5, 6, 7 years ago. Completely different. When it comes to Cody, for him to finish the story and for him to fulfill his father's dream, you can't change his character. You can't change his personality. Then it doesn't mean as much.
And Roman was a babyface while he was chasing Brock, and Cody's a babyface while he's chasing Roman.
Yes.
How is it completely different?
Because Roman's a heel, Cody can't be a heel. If the moment of him winning the championship is him as a heel, it doesn't mean the same thing.
Of course not.
It doesn't mean the same thing. So my theme, Bully, is about, I don't think, as a fan, I'm disappointed. Now listen, when I say disappointed, Bully, I think you would understand the fact that It's great to have The Rock back. I would be blind and deaf if I didn't realize the electricity he brings, how much the fans love him, what he brought to that show last night. I mean, there's very, very few people. It's an extremely short list of wrestlers, and I'm talking in history, that gets the kind of reaction that The Rock does and gets the kind of love that The Rock does. Example, Monday Night Raw from last night. But as a fan of Cody, after seeing what I've been seeing the last 3 months, I seriously doubt that Cody Rhodes is going to fulfill his father's dream and chase that championship and get that championship in Philadelphia at WrestleMania 40. Right now, Bully, there is serious doubt in my mind that that's going to happen. I love Cody. I hope it happens. I have all the faith that it should happen, and I believe he can be the face of the franchise if it does happen at WrestleMania 40. But all these circumstances surrounding what we've been seeing from Survivor Series, from The Rock, what we're seeing getting played out now with Randy Orton and with CM Punk, it's very hard for me to have faith in the WWE that they're going to pull the trigger of Cody beating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, or even having the opportunity to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40.
Hypothetical, which is there's a good possibility this could happen. Well, this is a scenario that I could see happening. If they did Roman versus Randy at the Rumble, and Randy defeated Roman, which now makes Randy Universal Champion. Cody goes on to face Randy at WrestleMania, but then we get the match for the head of the table, which is Roman and Rock. Does Roman and Rock overshadow that main event of Randy and Cody?
I think it does, yes.
And
do
in
you
my
believe
opinion,
that? Do you believe that?
Yeah, I mean, Roman and Rock head of the table story is significant. It would be the biggest match. Would you say it could be one of the biggest matches in the history of WrestleMania?
Yes, you can make that case.
And it would Cody versus Randy be one of the biggest matches in the history of WrestleMania?
It would be a great WrestleMania match. I don't know if you're going to put it in the elite of the elite.
So do you really want anything to take away from Cody's moment? Because when Cody eventually finishes this story, it has to be a huge moment, a huge victory, an incredible match for him. It has to be something that the WWE, it needs to be the real foundation of the next evolution of Cody Rhodes and where he's going to go next. There can be no discussion of, did the match live up to the expectations and the hype? So it's a very interesting, like I say, internal chess match of if we do this, then this. And if we do this, then when do we do this? But if we do it, then will the people lose faith? Punk wins the Rumble, chooses Seth. That's what I want. I think that's what the majority of the people want to see.
All right. I agree with that. Yes.
So I think we can take Punk and Seth out of the equation.
Agreed.
Which leaves us Randy, Roman, possibly Rock, because we don't know if what The Rock says pertains to WrestleMania. He said head of the table. That could happen at Royal Rumble. That could happen at Elimination Chamber. That could happen at WrestleMania. So Cody, Roman, Rock, and Randy. There's your four, and where do they go, when and why? If you're looking for your biggest WrestleMania this year, let's take Rock out of the equation. Can they still have the biggest WrestleMania of all time this year without The Rock?
I think they can.
So do I. But can you do Rock versus Roman anywhere else?
All right, first of all, let's start from what we saw last night. The Rock saying that line, this match has to happen now. Like, it has to happen.
It's a lot different than him saying shit on Pat McAfee's show. Now you have planted a seed on Monday Night Raw. You cannot, as when you are a mega baby face like a Rock, you can't plant that seed on Monday Night Raw and then not follow up on it.
So we're getting that match. That match is happening. Now, can you do that match at the Rumble? I think you could. Rumble's just a few weeks away. I think it's too short of a time to jump into a match between those two right now, because there is a story going on currently on SmackDown between Randy and Roman. So I don't think The Rock can bypass a story that's currently being told. I think that would be unfair to Randy. Now, you brought up Elimination Chamber. Elimination Chamber is going to be in Australia. It's going to be in a stadium that fits 70,000 people. Could it be in Australia in this stadium for Elimination Chamber? I think there's a good possibility you could go that route, Bully. But at the same time, it's hard for me to say, all right, we're reintroducing The Rock on, January 1st, 2024. We're 3 months away from WrestleMania, and we're going to bring The Rock back, but it's not going to be for WrestleMania. I mean, that's a little hard for me to swallow, that you're bringing The Rock back, but it's not going to be for WrestleMania 40, which we both know, Bully, is going to be the biggest WrestleMania of all time. Do you think The Rock's going to come back and not be a part of the biggest WrestleMania of all time?
Hollywood is back open. I'm sure that his schedule is filling up, his responsibilities in Hollywood. What if he was only back for Raw last night and a select amount of events to highlight and main event the event in Australia, which I think that they're looking to be a real, a mega event. If you put the Rock on WrestleMania, he has to be against Roman. If he's against Roman for the championship, I don't think people are going to like that at all. That is a very forced fit. I mean, you could fit a round peg into a square hole with a hammer, but man, this feels even more forced than that, because Rock hasn't been around for a while and just coming back and going into the championship. I don't want that. I know you don't want that. I don't think a lot of people want to see that. So if he goes to WrestleMania, it has to be against Roman. And then if it is against Roman, you can't have the championship on Roman. That means you have to put it someplace else. Who better than Randy right now, who's chasing that 16-time record to tie it and possibly beat it. And then you do Randy versus Cody, where Randy can finish the story against somebody that means a lot to him. There's a nice story built into Cody and Randy also. And let's not forget, Cody did retweet something I said about 2 months ago where he says, let's run it back, a student versus the master one more time. So just trying to put all these little pieces together, which is exactly what they're doing in creative every day now. They may have it all locked in, because if you bring The Rock back last night to drop that first seed, to plant that first seed for real, you have to have some kind of a plan. You're not Triple H and Nick Khan going, you know what, Rocky, why don't you just go out there and say this and stir the people up? But we're not quite sure where we're gonna go with it. We're gonna have to follow it up. There's got to be a plan in place already.
Of course there is, because he would not have said that line otherwise. You could have had The Rock make that appearance last night. We would have speculated, but because he said that line, we know this match is going to happen. So I agree with you 100%. There's no way they would have him go out there, say that line, and not follow through with it. But now it brings up a few more questions, Bully, for you, and this is for the nation as well. And it's, fight your way in, because the lines are obviously already stacked up. But I'm going to take a couple of the scenarios that you brought up. A, if Roman loses to Randy Orton, let's just say they have a match together at the Royal Rumble coming up here at the end of the month. If Randy beats Roman, becomes the new undisputed WWE Universal Champion, does that weaken Roman at all? Because now you're throwing the streak out the window. The streak is done, so throw that right out the window. And now you're building up to a match as the head of the table, but you just lost that championship. You just had a major loss before a big match like that with The Rock. Do you think the WWE would do that? Instead of making Roman look stronger going into a match with The Rock, you're actually making him look weaker.
I get your point. I don't think he looks weak, especially the way you can do the finish between Randy and Roman. I don't think it weakens it. If you're coming out of that and you're going right into something about the head of the table with Rocky, I think it can be done. Now, what if Roman defeats Rocky? Because there's nothing to be. Listen, Rock can't stick around.
No.
Can't be putting championships on the Rock and Rock sticking around. This is a quick hit. This is from last night to possibly WrestleMania. And they have to maximize him. How do we maximize The Rock? If Roman defeats The Rock, then that kind of makes Rocky look a little weird by, dropping the hint last night and saying, the head of the table. Does it hurt Rocky? He can't hurt Rock. He's Teflon. That means you get Roman and Cody at WrestleMania. I believe that's what the WWE universe wants. Actually, why don't we throw up a poll?
Well, we could throw up a poll.
I mean, it's early enough in the show. Just, Paul, throw up a poll. What would you rather see as of this moment? Roman Rock at WrestleMania or Roman Cody at WrestleMania?
It's a fair question.
Huh?
It's a fair question.
We don't need anybody else in this equation. If it came down to those two matches, what would the fan base want to see?
All right, now, Bully, again, throwing up what you just said, scenarios, and that's what we're doing here. I mean, this is what we're going to be speculating on until we finally find out what the matches are going to be at WrestleMania 40. If you do have Randy Orton beat Roman, and now Randy Orton's your new WWE Undisputed Universal Champion, so that would set Randy against Cody for WrestleMania 40, and it would also set Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania 40. Okay, so you're getting like the best case scenario, your dream matches, everybody wins, and you're most likely also going to get Seth against CM Punk. Well, you got to have Seth and CM Punk as the main event for night number one, right? I mean, that's the whole reason why CM Punk came back. That was the whole bitching point from CM Punk, is that he was never in the main event. You got to put Seth and CM Punk main eventing night number one, right?
Do you have to? No. We know that CM Punk left the WWE because he was upset about not main eventing WrestleMania, i.e. going on last. But I'll be damned if working with The Undertaker is not at the very least a co-main event at WrestleMania.
Totally agree.
We don't
But it wasn't enough for him. It wasn't enough for him.
But that was 10 years ago. People change. We've talked about how people can change. I mean, I don't know how you say that this place caused me physical harm, it caused me mental harm, yada, yada, but now you call it home. That's not a home that I would like. That's not a place that I would call home. And then if it really is home, you told everybody, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. So how much home can it possibly be? But it's all bullshit. It's sports entertainment, yada, yada. We don't know what the terms were of Punk returning. He might have said, hey, Trips, I want a main event WrestleMania. And Trips said, Punk, we'll do the best thing. We'll do the best we can. But listen, you're not really in a position of power right now because you're out of AEW. Yeah, there was the possibility that you're going to go to TNA, and TNA did everything that they possibly could. They stood up to bat there and took the best possible swing at Punk. Kudos to D'Amore and TNA for trying that. But, you want to come back?
It's the WWE in 2023. It's impossible.
We're gonna be a worldwide entertainment conglomerate, just destroying everybody at will as much as we want, with or without you. But we'd love to have you back on board if you're in a better place. We don't know if Triple H guaranteed Punk the main event spot. being on last on night 1 or night 2. I think Cody made some very specific demands when he had Vince and Bruce in front of him, and I think Cody was more in the driver's seat during his negotiation than Punk probably was during his.
Agreed, but you're also a bully. You have to look at the other side of this too, and that's Seth Rollins.
I got to tell you, man, you know how I feel about being in the first spot. If I'm Seth Rollins or CM Punk, just my opinion, I'd love to kick off WrestleMania. If I'm Punk, kicking off WrestleMania by possibly defeating Seth Rollins for the championship by going on first and having all of that energy in Philly, oh my God. And they seem to like Seth in that opening slot. Seth does an amazing job of setting the tone on these shows.
Yeah, but and listen, I understand what you're saying about opening the show and being that first match, but I feel like you're almost doing Seth Rollins and that World Heavyweight Championship that in the last year you've done a lot to build up by not having him in the main event. I feel like he has earned the spot of being the main event, at least in night number 1 of WrestleMania 40.
So let's go with easy booking right here. Seth versus Punk headlines is the main event of night 1.
Yes.
Cody versus it can't be Roman because then that leaves Rock out of the equation.
So that brings up my second point when it comes to this bully. If you're setting up Seth and CM Punk, which is a distinct possibility for night number 1, if I would think that most betting people right now would probably say if they had to choose that night number 1 of WrestleMania 40 would be Seth and Punk. What do you have main event night number 2? Is it Rock or Roman, or is it Cody and Randy?
My point was if it was Cody and Randy in the main event of night 2, where do you put Roman versus Rock?
You can't put it the opening match. You can't put it before. It's hard. It's almost impossible, bully, for me to say you're going to have Rock and Roman. The Rock, one of the greatest superstars of all time in the eyes of the WWE, he's on that Mount Rushmore. And then Roman Reigns that you've built up now for a decade to be in the position where he is right now, and that's not going to be your main event at WrestleMania? Come on. It's got to be. It's got to be your main event at WrestleMania.
If
Whew.
Seth and Punk kick off night 1, Rock and Roman main event night 1, Cody and Orton main event night 2. That's in your scenario that you just dealt. That's what I would do with that.
I think you would agree that WrestleMania 40 is going to be the biggest WrestleMania of all time, and it also could be the greatest WrestleMania of all time.
I think, as I said a couple of weeks ago, the WWE has the potential with this WrestleMania in Philadelphia, with the talent that they have on the card, to surpass what was done in the Houston Astrodome at WrestleMania 17. And Dave, we were talking about the order of the matches. Which is a bigger match to you, Dave? Roman versus The Rock, no championship, or The Rock versus Hulk Hogan?
Oh God, that's a very difficult question to answer. I think I may have to give the edge to The Rock and Roman because of the story involved.
Okay, I'm going to give the edge to The Rock and Hogan because of it's Hulk Hogan, end of story.
Yes.
Rock and Hogan happened at WrestleMania 18. Do you remember what number they went on?
I don't. I know it wasn't the main event.
Third to last. I'm just using that as a barometer for where Rock and Roman could go on at this year WrestleMania if it was The Rock and Roman.
Yeah, and I always say the greatest WrestleMania match of all time was at WrestleMania 25 with The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. That was not the main event either. That was third.
And my greatest WrestleMania match was Rock and Hogan. which was not the main event,
Yeah,
not even the
I think-
semi-main, or
Yeah, and I think the order of both those matches were the same. All right, let me go back to my original question that I asked you before we went to break. WrestleMania 40. Does Cody finish the story?
It's so hard for me to give a yes or no, because I the first thing that comes to mind is I start thinking like a booker, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If he finishes the story, have we made him big enough for his next chapter? If he finishes at WrestleMania 40 this year, have we gotten enough out of the chase, enough of chapter 1 of the story to propel him to the levels that we're going to need to have people pay to see him retain?
It's all in the presentation. And I know that sounds silly, but if you finish WrestleMania 40 with Cody winning the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship and the pomp and circumstance that would follow, and that's how you sign off WrestleMania 40, I think that momentum will carry in to the next night and move forward. If this happens at any other point on the show other than the end, I don't think it has the same impact. And, Bully, even though you and I believe that the better story is with Cody and Randy, if we have the dominoes fall the way that they're going to be falling, does that give enough time to tell that story between Cody and Randy Orton, where it is a significant enough victory for Cody Rhodes? Or does he have to beat Roman for him to have that moment?
One of the other concerns that I would have is the day after for Cody. And the promo that Cody would cut. If he lost, the last thing I'm going to want to hear from Cody Rhodes is, oh, gee, golly, sorry, I let you guys down and I let Dad down, and I'm going to do my damnedest to come back and finally finish my story. Like, ugh. What does he say the day after if he can't win? You can't win, Rock.
It's a tough one to swallow, Bully. I don't know if
So
there's
many
anything
people
there you can say. What can you say? Because there was the disappointment after WrestleMania 39 that he didn't win. Then we're going to do it again. We're going to rewind it and play it again after WrestleMania 40. That's tough. That would be really tough.
You guys, a lot of people out there in the world of wrestling still think they missed the opportunity at 39. They should have pulled the trigger. Not anybody that I respect, by the way. They should have pulled the trigger at 39, yada, yada. They didn't. This was the right decision to get to 40 with Cody. So many people have stayed on board with Cody because of creative, because of what Cody's been able to do, brick by brick, fan by fan. I think when I first saw Cody and Shinsuke, I was like, oh, I don't know if Shinsuke's strong enough to keep Cody's momentum going, but Shinsuke's been doing a phenomenal job, especially after last night. I just don't know if you get to 40 and Cody loses, if you take all of the wind out of the fan base's sails, where if he loses, why do I still have faith? Why should I still care? Yeah, if he gets screwed over, it's one thing. But are you going off the air on WrestleMania with Roman going over again? There's enough of a backlash out there with Roman only, working or defending the championship 11 times last year? Are we to expect people to stay that invested in a champion that is hardly seen, despite the fact that we understand that he's an attraction and he's a big deal? I think people will be like, screw you and your big deal.
It's an interesting one because nobody has yelled about that more than I have, Bully, over the course of the last 12 months. But let's face it. If we see Randy Orton at Royal Rumble defending the championship, and then we see him again at Elimination Chamber, and then of course at WrestleMania 40. I think by that point, by the time we get to WrestleMania 40, people are going to forget about the amount of times he defended that championship, because over the course of the last 3 months, he was in major high-profile matches that people's attention were completely on. I think you throw out everything that happened the year before, because you're going to be completely focused on those big 3 events. You're going to have Royal Rumble, you're going to have Elimination Chamber, and obviously WrestleMania 40. All 3 of those shows, Bully, are major, not only major events, but in stadiums. You're going to have tens of thousands of people in attendance for all 3 of those shows, Bully. I think you kind of forget everything that happened the 12 months prior.
I have to bring us back to center for one moment and remind everybody that pro wrestling, at the end of the day, is a business, right, Dave?
Yes.
And you better, if you're going to take that strap off of Roman, you better make sure that the person you're putting it on can do the same business financially or better. Did you see Triple H's tweet from yesterday?
I did not.
Okay. I have it right here in front of me. Triple H tweeted, "The biggest year in WWE history ever." And he's referring to 2023. "Just a glimpse of everything that the staff, crew, and talent accomplished in 23. None of it possible without the WWE universe. Here's the list of accomplishments, business-wise, with Roman Reigns as your Universal Champion. Highest social media views ever." Okay, social media, we could throw that to the side, but I mean, that does generate revenue, though, for the WWE, right?
Yeah, I'm sure there's paid promotions and yada, yada. Absolutely.
Highest merchandise revenue ever. Highest sponsorship revenue ever. Highest premium live event viewership ever. Highest grossing ticket sales ever. Now, can every one of those metrics that leads to dollar and cents be directly attributed to Roman? No. But with Roman as champion, all of those numbers have been possible.
All right, but Bully,
Cody, if you take that championship off of Cody, will Cody keep the tide as high as Roman has?
If you don't mind, if you have it in front of you, can you read Triple H's tweet one more time, please?
Sure. The tweet or just the accomplishments?
The accomplishments.
Okay. This is a generated image from the WWE.
Okay.
Biggest year in WWE history with Roman Reigns as your Universal Champion. It says highest social media views ever. Highest merchandise revenue ever. Highest sponsorship revenue ever. Highest premium live event viewership ever. Highest grossing ticket sales ever.
Okay. Now, we all know that they've been breaking records. And there's no doubt that the WWE is happy with their 2023. Now, you said it, Bully. A lot of the times, what do you look at? You look at who's the champion at the time when these records are breaking, right? Well, obviously, we all know that's been Roman Reigns in 2023. But let's first look at merchandise sales, okay? Now, merchandise sales, I am getting this from the Times, and when I look at the biggest merchandise sales for 2023, Cody is over Roman Reigns in merchandise sales. For a good portion of 2023, Cody was number one.
Does that actually give you numbers?
It doesn't give me numbers. It just gave me the rankings.
So what are the rankings?
So for the full year of 2023, Cody was number one. Roman was number three. So when you look at merchandise sales, Cody is over Roman. Now, when it comes to live events, we didn't see Roman hardly at all at live events. But who did you see at almost every premium, at almost every live event? It was Cody Rhodes. Would we agree with that?
Yes.
Now you mentioned premium live events and how every premium live event broke records and was the biggest of all time. There were 5 premium live events over the course of 2023 that Roman wasn't even a part of. He wasn't a part of Fastlane. He wasn't a part of Payback. He wasn't a part of Night of Champions. He wasn't a part of Backlash. And he wasn't a part of the biggest of all time Survivor Series in 2023. Who was the poster for Survivor Series this past year? It was Cody Rhodes. So I think it's a little misleading, Bully, when you say about these big numbers from the WWE and that, hey, Roman was your champion, and could Cody do the business of Roman? Because I think Cody did more business for the WWE than Roman did in 2023. When you go by the metrics that Triple H tweeted last night.
Understand what you're saying. Understand the numbers. But mind you, the graphic that says biggest year in WWE history, it doesn't just have like a big WWE logo where they've listed all the accomplishment. It wasn't a collage of the superstars. It wasn't a poster of Rock, of Roman and Cody and Charlotte and Becky. This graphic has only Roman Reigns on it. Tweeted by Triple H. What the WWE is telling you is that because of this man being champion, all of these numbers are higher. This is the perception the WWE wants you to know. And they are right.
Just no doubt.
Without
no doubt,
Roman Reigns, as I don't give a shit about 11 times, 6 defenses, your sister's ass. With this guy as the champion, all these numbers are up. Remember how you always talk about when Hogan was around, the A show and the B show, and how all the boys would thank Hulk if they were on the A show because they all made more money? Right now, this is the same thing. This entire company is where it's at today financially because of Roman Reigns.
I don't think he's the sole reason, but you got to give Roman a lot of credit about the story of the bloodline and, of course, Roman Reigns. And I give him that respect. But at the same time, when you throw out those numbers, I think a lot of those numbers attributed to Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes is getting pops and Bully. That was one of the metrics we talked about. Can he get that in every city? And he has. But the question you asked is, could Cody take that ball and run with it if Roman was to lose and they gave that torch to Cody? Could he carry it into 2024? My answer is yes. I believe he can.
Remember, this is not just about Roman and Cody. It's what comes with Roman, which is the entire bloodline story. So now we take away the Heyman, the Roman, the Jimmy, the Jay, the Solo, the story, the head of the table, everything that comes with Roman, and now that is just on Cody.